Very good. Well, welcome everyone. See, we have, let's see, who is that on the?
So this is Patricia.
Patricia,
And
yeah.
you met
I know
Patricia
Patricia,
at the
yes.
event in October. Yeah.
Well, I've met a lot of people. I can hardly remember my own name sometimes.
I think
Hi, Patricia.
you met Steve just a few minutes ago.
I met him for the first time. I think I know the rest of these
I think
guys
everybody
and
else.
gals. So anyway, I call this meeting of the Arkansas Financial Education Commission to order. The first order of business is the minutes of the last meeting, which was in April of this year, April the 11th. So does anyone have any additions or corrections to the minutes that we have submitted to you? I think they were all provided. And we did give notice for this meeting?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So that the press has been made aware of the meeting, and I don't see them here today. So I have the minutes in front of me. I hope you all do too. I've read those. I was not at the meeting, but they all seem to be pretty standard and in order as to what occurred at the meeting on April 11th. So I would entertain a motion for the approval of those minutes without any corrections.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. The first order of business is a discussion about the appointment of members. And we had a long discussion about this a couple of days ago, Tuesday, I believe it was. And so I'd like Fran to kind of summarize what we believe would be a proper way to approach the appointment, because we've got some that are coming expiring, and we need to, apparently there's a staggering raise in the legislation and probably also in the rules for practicing. So Fran, would you?
Sure. So if you all, I included in your packet the rules in the back, and it's under item 4 for the board of directors, and it's 4B. And so just to reiterate, members representing the Arkansas Bankers Association, the federally chartered, which would be Duncan, but kind of let's put that on the shelf for a second, because Duncan is no longer nothing's wrong, but the Arkansas Bankers Association has chosen another person to be their representative. So we'll talk about that in just a second. And she's unable to be here. I think she's at the same meeting Susanna Marshall is. Okay, so back to this. So Arkansas Bankers, Steve with the credit union, and then Patricia, Abby, and Marcia shall serve 2-year terms, which should be staggered. Now, if you remember, at our last meeting in April, you accepted another appointment through the end of 2024. So you're set. So the treasurer wanted to reappoint Steve, Abby, and Patricia, but wanted to make sure prior to this meeting that they were interested in being reappointed, and all 3 have indicated that they are. So in order to abide by the rules, we already know Marcia's at 1 year, but Steve and then Catherine, who's the new ABA representative, Abby and Patricia will need to draw for either a 1-year or a 2-year term. And so given that Patricia is remote and that Catherine is not here, we'll have Abby, you obviously draw for yourself. Steve, you draw for yourself. And then I'll draw for Catherine, and then the remaining is your. So is everybody, it's, believe me, our competition figured this out, took about an hour the other day.
We're good.
Summarizing, but it took us forever.
I practiced.
It's very clear. Okay.
So basically, the appointments, oh, the ones, okay, so Abby and Steve have drawn, so collectively, the three of you, your appointments will technically end November 30th of 2024.
So they both drew 1 year?
Yes.
Okay.
So Patricia, you're up, we got you for another 2 years, hopefully.
Okay, great. I need to do our Christmas gift drawing like this. This works really well. Quick.
So you and the ABA representative will be on the committee for 2 years.
And that's
till
Catherine.
Mitchell until 2025. So thank you all.
Okay.
To make that official, so what do you,
So is that,
yeah, say what they are so it'll be properly.
okay, so Steve, Abby, and Marcia, and Catherine will serve until November 30th of 2024, while Patricia,
You said Catherine.
oh, I said
Catherine's-
Catherine, sorry. So
Catherine's
Patricia and Catherine are two years,
Right.
till 25. And so one more item before I hand it back to you. So obviously the Arkansas Bankers Association, their role in this is they appoint a designee to serve. And it had been Duncan because he was either it was an emerging leaders group or something that they had. So since his term technically expired at the end of November, I reached out to Lori Trogdon, and she and Duncan talked, and the executive committee wanted to appoint Catherine Mitchell, who is, do you know her? Okay. She is Senior Vice President of Bank Services for Reliance Bank. But for the Bankers Association, she's the chair of their education committee. So they were thoughtful in thinking that would be a good fit. So as I said, she's in New York at a meeting, which is where I think Susanna is, perhaps. I don't know.
She is in New Orleans at a CSBS meeting.
Okay, so not the same. Okay. But she has 20 years of experience, and obviously we'll meet her. You all meet her at the next meeting. So then the only other item I had was actually handing it over to, there's another change that I'm going to let Campbell explain that pertains to the securities department and the bank department.
Sure, happy to explain our situation a little bit. After these rules were passed and during the last legislative session, changes were made by statute to merge the securities department into the bank department and make us a division of the bank department. And along with that, changes were made to allow the bank commissioner to serve as the securities commissioner in a dual role. And after those changes were made, Governor Sanders appointed Susanna Marshall in a dual role as both bank commissioner and securities commissioner. And reading the rules of the commission, the securities commissioner and the bank commissioner get a spot. But currently that's one and the same person. And she could, in her role as securities commissioner, designate someone like me to serve as a proxy. But the concern is that that would essentially be 2 votes for Susanna on any board business. And what we don't want is to call into question any board votes, but overloading the votes or having one person having 2 votes. And so in the meantime, absent any changes to the rules that would allow, say, a deputy commissioner of the securities department to serve, that sort of thing. I will be her proxy if she's unable to make it, but she will be here, one person in two roles, but with 1 vote.
Okay,
So
very good.
that's,
All right, I think that at the first opportunity, we'll change, get the legislation changed to reflect that, and which makes sense because it is legislative
Okay.
enacted.
So we would need to wait till the next general session to do that, or
We'll have to look at that from a legal standpoint. If it's cleanup, they might do cleanup stuff. I don't know.
See, I thought because it's in the rules, we could, but since it's in the legislation stated that that trumps everything. Okay, okay, all right.
But yeah, happy to work with the commission offline on
Okay.
any legal changes that might be needed, if that's the prerogative of the commission.
And I think it's just administrative. I think that I don't see it being a problem having, one vote for the two positions, because it's just the way, the way the commission works. I don't see that as it's not a controversial thing. I don't, at least it hasn't been so far. Hopefully it will be.
Try to controversy follows me sometimes.
Don't say that.
Some of the jobs.
So we'll report back to the group after we've checked into this, but thank you for, my brain exploded just on this, so thank you for
Yeah,
explaining
hopefully
that.
I was as succinct as you were.
Yeah, no,
explaining
that
the
was
other
great,
appointments.
that was great. Unless anybody has any other questions for us, I'll hand it back over to you.
All right, thank you. And I think the next order of business, and I assume y'all all have the agenda, is, I want to ask Abby to kind of report back to us on the financial education event that we had at the state capitol. Was it a month ago or 2 months ago?
October.
Okay, it's almost 2 months ago.
Well, thanks for those of you who could join us. It was actually really exciting. It was actually October 18th, had a legislative financial inclusion event at the state capitol that the treasurer kindly kicked off. In attendance, we had both legislators as well as financial institution representatives, community advocates, and even some adorable children from a local school that were with us. And it gave an opportunity to really lift up the state of financial education and financial health in the state. And thanks to Marcia for offering and delivering that update and bringing the adorable children. They were a hit. Arkansas is, and I don't know how much we really emphasized this that day because it was more celebratory, I think last in saving. And we've got a long way to go, but on this particular day, we were really also talking about financial inclusion and banking in our state, which we've done a fantastic job. And so partnering with Bank on Arkansas Plus, we heard from Jim Taylor, who's with First Security Bank and chairman of the Arkansas Bankers Association, talking about how over the past 5 years, because Bank On turned 5, Arkansas is now ranked 4th in the country for access to financial institutions. And that was from a Forbes article and report in early October, and ranked 2nd in moving the needle on unbanked. So Arkansas is not at the end of some list, but rather 2nd and 4th. So some significant, more than cut that unbanked rate in more than half. So very, very encouraging. We also heard from Glenn Howey, who is the state broadband director. And in case you're not paying attention to the bukus of federal dollars that are about to pour into the state of Arkansas to put broadband, infrastructure and help people get connected. We talked at this event, and Glenn talked about just putting that infrastructure in the ground is not enough. Making sure it's actually affordable and people are connected is a whole nother ball game, and how financial institutions, through their efforts, reach, and being trusted sources, along with community advocates, can promote digital financial health and financial literacy. And so there's a huge opportunity, I think, and we displayed in the event, for partnerships between this office and the state broadband office, because they will have money to execute and execute quickly. And we really ended the event with a call to action from Kara Wilkins, who spoke to this group several times from Bank on Arkansas Plus, to say to financial institutions, your CRA dollars to promote digital financial inclusion counts. So please devote dollars towards that as this broadband money rolls out, and lifted up opportunities for all of us to promote savings in the future.
Were you out at the Bank of the Ozarks for that?
Yes.
Okay, do you want to mention that?
Yes, so subsequently, the Bank of the Ozarks hosted the 5th year birthday celebration for Bank On, which we had probably 75 people in attendance. Strong support from the treasurer again and his staff, as well as financial institutions and even more advocates. And that was really where we lifted up the market difference that over 26 financial institutions in the state of Arkansas had gone through the Bank On certification at the national level, demonstrated a desire to tweak, change, or adopt products that meet the ALICE, Asset Limited Income Constrained Population's needs and promote financial access. And that is in fact how that Forbes article is talking about, being able to move the needle. I will also say we had a call with Cities for Financial Empowerment a couple of weeks ago, and they were looking at the bond data that the Federal Reserve Bank collects on Bank On. And he said every single time there would be a bank that wasn't an obvious financial institution to him, like Bank of America or Wells, he would go and look, and of course it was in Arkansas, because our regional and state banks that have really embraced Bank On are more significant than anywhere else in the country.
Awesome.
When I
So,
looked at the stats, we had a disproportionate number compared to the total. Now, I didn't see the state information for other states, but it was obvious that we were doing a lot more than other states that are participating in this program.
that's right. Machuska from the Federal Reserve Bank spoke, and she's here in Little Rock at the Little Rock branch for the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. She spoke about that and said, and honestly challenged the financial institutions. If more of our Arkansas financial institutions would report their data, we would be even
Right.
better.
Yeah.
Like, we're already showing some amazing progress, but our numbers are actually better than what they appear to be because we only have so many that are reporting their bond data. So it's an opportunity.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anything else? And I forgot to mention Greg Rogers. He's here representing Jacob Oliva. Appreciate you. Greg and I go way back now. And he's the financial brains behind the education.
Oh, don't do that.
This guy can work miracles when it comes to money, for sure. I appreciate you being here representing the Department of Education. The next item on the agenda is number 5, is a discussion of kind of statewide financial education opportunity we've been talking about. Heather, are you going to take the lead or
Yeah,
Abby?
yeah. No, Heather, it is, but I had asked Heather before she spoke. I just wanted to direct everybody as a reminder to the mission and goals that are in your packet, just because it's been a minute since we've met.
You want to cover those first?
Well, I was just gonna kind of cue it up.
Yeah.
To kind of keep these goals in mind as we have this conversation, and it will be a discussion. It's kind of an evolving idea that I believe kind of started with Heather and the treasurer, and it might be something that the commission wants to consider, and particularly listening for that second, third, and fifth goal about identifying issues and looking for collaborative partners around the state who really know the areas where they live. I mean, Patricia can tell us a heck of a lot more about the Delta than I can, So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Heather and let her start.
I'm Heather McKim. I am the Chief Public Affairs Officer here for the Treasurer and handle all communications and that type of thing here. Previously, I worked for Attorney General Leslie Rutledge as her Chief Operating Officer. So I've been around in state government now for about 27 years and done a lot of different things. And I love this job so much, and I love working with Larry, Treasurer Walther.
Larry's fine.
So, Fran mentioned your goals and mission, and we've kind of been discussing how, you know, this commission was set up, and now you're in a position where you have all the things. You have your foundation, you have your 501c3, you have, you know, goals and mission statement, all those things of your board members. So now we're at a point where, okay, what are we going to do? And where do you want this to go? And what direction to meet these goals and complete your mission? So really and truly, the October event inspired me. I thought it was fantastic, especially, you know, for the first time that we've done anything like that at the Capitol and partnering with you and Bank On and the commission. I mean, I just thought it was great. And the boss and I have been having many discussions about his passion, frankly, for financial education. He has a very strong passion for that. And, you know, he has about a year left here in this job. And so we were just talking about, well, you know, what can we do? What can we do where he can get out as the treasurer, but also represent this commission and get you guys involved as much as you would like to be, to partner in this and speak, or, you know, whatever the case may be. But in my experience with the AG's office, we did a lot of workshops around the state where we would go, we do identity theft, or we do cybersecurity, or, you know, just helping the elderly, you know, protect their money, and lots of workshops like that. And so I just thought, man, we could do something like that with financial education, and it would allow the treasurer to get out around the state and promote this commission and what you guys do. And incidentally, because of the Bank On anniversary, he recorded a video. I hope you all got to see that. It was really great, for the anniversary and just celebrating Bank On and the relationship that the treasurer's office has with Bank On, and how we want to continue that partnership and relationship. So through that, I met Dr. Laura Hendricks with U of A, and she talked about how several years ago they partnered with the AG's office on, I think it was identity theft.
Because her office recorded that it was.
Yeah, they
were
her office came and did the recording of the video, so that's how I met her. And we just got to talking, and she said, you know, several years ago, we partnered with the AG's office and went out and did these workshops around the state. So they already have a model, and I guess that's how the AG's office really kind of got started on doing some of the workshops that they do now. That might have been the start of it, but they already have a model in place and can use their extension offices around the state to help us get these things set up. And we thought, well, just kind of as a pilot, we could, you know, do 2 or 3 and kind of see how it goes, and then, you know, make any adjustments as we need to make them. But I think my vision forward and what I was thinking would be great would be to partner with you and Kara and the U of A, or, you know, other partners that maybe have developed financial education curriculum already. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel. There's so many organizations out there that have curriculum already. But this would be a way for us to partner even with the state broadband project, where we could help promote that and get the word out. But I envision it being like a workshop. Treasurer Walther was recently at an event, and he was speaking with Paul Guess, that owns that big Christmas store out in Des Arc. And he just, in conversation, said there was such a huge need in his community for just basic financial education, you know, balancing a checkbook and, you know, just basic stuff. So I was thinking, depending on where we're going, and I would want us to form a committee to brainstorm this and really kind of iron out the structure of it and what it would look like.
See what resources
they all
we
have. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Contribute.
But really make this worthwhile, and something that I think this commission could be very proud of, around, you know, to promote around the state. I had another thought that just left me. Oh, just the basic, have some workshop and speakers and curriculum for basic financial education, but then also I was thinking along the lines with the Bank On and their mission to help women. There may be certain areas where you have women who want to start a new business, or they want to start a business, but they don't have a clue of where to even start and how to do that. So you have some experts there that teach a workshop on how to start a business and what you do and where to go. So I invite all of your input and and I want your blessing before we just jump out here and start this. But I just think it would be an amazing legacy
Yeah, right.
for this guy and for this commission to start.
It just, yeah, it just sounded like when I was filling them in that first year, we've got all the business of this commission out of the way. Now let's move forward. So that's why we're opening it up for discussion.
This is the mission.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, I mean, it sounds like a fantastic idea to me. At the securities department, we have an investor education section. We have a director, James Rouse, who's former Arkansas football player, but a long time member of the securities industry as well. He does a great job for us. And
Was he over at the Capitol?
he was,
Yeah.
yes, sir. And that's what they do.
Right.
They go out, we have a mission for that section to go out and provide financial education to all citizens across Arkansas. We partner with Economics Arkansas in delivering
Thought of them too.
that information to schools and teachers. And we partner with a lot of different groups. I was at the AARP the other night, an event there. We go to town hall, civic groups. So our section would be sitting on go, ready to join up and offer any help that we could. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I think we need to use like PBA, AETN. They do a lot of education work on their own, so that would be another avenue to get information to people.
We've done a phone bank there before at AATN, just fielding calls from the general public about investment questions and that sort of thing. And that was a successful event for us.
And Courtney's been open to a lot of change over there, so I think that probably helped her too.
We hosted with the security department a number of things called Dinner and Dollars, where we give teachers some food after school, and we talk about not only personal resources, but resources to take back to the classroom. Teachers who come to anything related to financial literacy are there primarily because they need the information. So if we then are able to share with them resources that they can take back to the classroom, that's a bonus.
Something that we've done in the credit union industry, and it's not necessarily the industry as a whole in the state, but individual credit unions, we host what we call reality fairs at individual schools. And what it does is, in a very entertaining and fun way for the students, you've seen it, it gives them an opportunity to understand and gain information and knowledge about how to budget, what it takes to run a household, things like that. They are assigned a random job with a salary, and then they have to go.
And kids,
and
they're always like, let me see.
Exactly. They've got to go find housing. They've got to buy a car. They've got to get utilities.
It's like the game of life.
It's a game of life.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
wonderful that you guys are putting those programs into the schools, and I feel like we're gonna have a generation coming up that's gonna be a lot.
More savvy.
Yeah.
But
But we have a gap with, we have a lot of adults out there that don't know those basic skills.
Yeah, and we are, and I will say that, and it's a great program, but we're doing it very regionally, right? Just wherever we are at. If we could figure out a way to do that broader through this organization, then that could touch a lot of areas of the state that aren't getting anything.
Absolutely.
So Greg, over.
And Laura and her team are fabulous because they do have a presence in every county too. So
Well, and I thought pulling in those resources, we have Rachel on our staff here who she does local government services, and so she's got very good relationships with elected officials in every county and municipalities. So I feel like she would help us to, get those elected officials in that area together, and then with the extension offices and all of your contacts and who you know, I feel like we could take care of a lot of the overhead. I feel like we could get a location. I feel like really we wouldn't have a whole lot of cost involved, I don't think, if we just pull together the resources.
And I wanted to see if, Patricia, what are your thoughts on this, especially in the community you live?
I think it's an amazing idea. And I would certainly be very excited to be a part of bringing some partners together locally that I think will be very interested in participating. Absolutely.
So Greg, from the Department of Education standpoint, do you have any kind of suggestions or thoughts based on what you've heard here this morning?
Well, I mean, I think last time Secretary Davis talked about, they're going through the financial literacy standards right now and looking at how they can change those. So I think what you're talking about doing right now works with that, was they're trying to change the standards for financial literacy going on within the schools that are going to
That'd be
that.
wonderful.
So that would be a good thing. So obviously they would.
It's a logical place
Right.
to go.
And, and as we do have the 17 regional co-ops out there that are, their boards are the superintendents of each one of those districts. So I'm sure that we could help with some coordination through the co-ops there to touch more teachers like she was talking about, than to have parents come to those co-ops, because those co-ops are 17 regionally out throughout the state, and then on campuses. Most of our secondary campuses have ERZs, the educational renewal zone, or on each one of those that we do a lot of partnerships with. Just because some of the stuff that have gone through with those lately is they're with the freshman orientation classes that each freshman has to take in most of our colleges now. One of the things that they do have to meet, every freshman has to go to it, and one of those is talking about budgeting and talking about balancing a checkbook. So that is movement in there, but I think that, obviously we'd help push that a little bit more any way that we could.
Good.
So it sounds like everybody's kind of got some materials that with tweak, I mean, if they're designed for elementary ed, I mean, obviously we want something that is basic,
Simple.
but it wouldn't be childlike.
Yeah.
To present to adults, but it sounds like, and it would complement, because we don't want to step on any toes of anything that you all are doing. We're just seeing it more
We're
as
all
a
about
generational.
collaboration.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think the more we work together and come together, the more good we can do,
Yeah.
It strikes me that part of a planning committee could also step back and think about who is the target audience.
Mhm,
Yes.
mhm.
Because there's a lot of options.
Yeah.
And that might dictate what actually gets delivered, who's the target audience, what's the message, what's the ask, and how much of that's, an actual class versus a community partner conversation to elevate the topic, that the treasurer's tour around the state, to elevate the work. Two other things I wanted to put on the table, because you mentioned the business, is at the Bank On anniversary, we launched a women's business fund that Philanthropy is hosting. So it's the Arkansas Women's Business Fund that's supposed to be a credit or gap filler for women who want business loans, who might seem risky to financial institutions, but are honestly a good investment. And so this is a bit of a pilot. So that's an opportunity. And then the other thing that is launching in January is EcoMap in the state of Arkansas. And it's through the University of Arkansas, funded by Philanthropy. The Northwest Arkansas Council is the fiscal agent, but it is bringing an electronic tool to the state to help entrepreneurs connect to resource and capital. And so it's in other states, but Arkansas does not have something that connects all these ecosystems. So my point is getting a message of what is it, what are all the things the treasurer would want to lift up and say, if this is something you're interested in, here's things that you could connect to, et
Yeah,
cetera.
resources.
And then the broadband subsidy.
Yes.
So working with the federal broadband subsidy for people who need support connecting and paying for broadband, that program, having that as part of the agenda would be very powerful.
It's good.
So I guess what I'm asking for from you guys is, your blessing to move forward with setting up a planning committee and really, really iron this out through the month of January and then get started as soon as possible afterwards.
Will you be connecting with them to talk about their participation at that level?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do you need a motion or a blessing?
What will the motion be?
I don't think we need a motion.
Okay.
So you know that there's really great, the Fed and Consumer Financial Protection Bureau have a lot of really easy, basic things that would cost, no cost to provide.
Right. Because I remember, back when we did our programs with the library, when we did those videos, meeting all those folks too, and having all the links that they provided.
Right.
So
The resources are there. A coherent message and ask isn't.
yeah, it's
That's
just,
what's missing, I think.
and it may be different depending what part of the state we go to. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
what
true.
the maybe it's more of like a stakeholder roundtable conversation in one part of the state, whereas it's hey, we're gonna have a class and teach basics in another part. I mean, but,
I can tell you that we have received a nice grant to help with some schools in the Little Rock School District to host financial literacy nights soon, like in January. So you would be welcome to be involved with us.
Okay.
Very cool.
We gotta move fast then. Your question about a motion probably is appropriate, and I was thinking something along the lines of the motion would be to direct the treasurer to begin to.
To form a planning
not to
committee.
begin, to form a planning committee that will start working on the direction and the resources, the kind of the plan that we would have to carry out our mission of this commission. We'll probably put that mission in that motion. Does that make sense?
I think Abby, you got that.
So moved.
And if we have a second,
I'll second that.
all right, any more discussion? Great idea. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good.
And that's why Abby was one of the 100 women of distinction in the Women's Foundation.
It's true, nice.
That is true. She's very deserving. When I saw her name, I was like, she deserves it.
My neighbor said I'm a woman to watch out for.
I mean, you're a wolf.
Fran, do we have any other business?
Thank you.
Thanks, Heather.
Does anyone else, is there any new business to come before this commission? I'm very happy with the progress we made today. I'm excited about it.
So will we plan to do April is technically Financial Literacy Month. Are we going to get a proclamation? And we've done that in the past, and it's been a bit.
We can help with that.
We will definitely work on that. Last April for us was just very odd, and so I don't believe we got one. But and then, when we were having this conversation, I mean, it also kind of spins off the ideas, by April, hopefully we will have had, or we'll about to have some of these meetings. And perhaps either, one of you all as a representative of the commission or the treasurer could write op-eds or, something that just kind of speaks to the importance and support financial literacy and how your service on this commission is doing that. So the only new business I have is what I'd like to do at our next meeting, and it's probably going to be tricky, but I'd love to get an actual photo, a group shot of all the commission members. So I would like to have that, so whenever our next meeting is, plan on, and we might even have it over at the Capitol because that would be a better place for a photo. But we really need it for a number of reasons, the least of which is updating the website. But it would just be nice to have that. So, obviously.
Do we have a 2024 meeting schedule yet?
We do not.
Okay.
We do not. And so, my thoughts, we'll probably have a small group, a planning meeting to discuss what Heather mentioned before the next meeting, so that at that meeting we could report. But I'm thinking maybe early March for people.
Before the session would be great.
Yes, well, and obviously before the session. I don't want to interfere with anybody's spring breaks. For those of you who have younger kids, I know that's the latter part of March. So maybe the first or second week in March. So I'll follow up with you all probably individual or as a group to let me know. I might even do one of those like doodle polls and see what seems to work, because we definitely would want to have, no offense, but we'd want, Secretary Oliva to be in the photo.
Greg and I had a lot of discussion about this beer, so I agree with everything.
Thank you. March the 7th, I know, particularly the day of our discussion, pre-hearing
Okay.
here at the LLC. When you're looking at exactly you want.
No March 7th. Okay.
I got that in my brain.
Yeah, he does.
It's
Walking
there.
around with that one.
Those are big meetings. Can
So
be
probably
exciting.
the week like after that, because I would imagine leading up to that meeting, so. And Patricia, do you have anything that jumps out at your calendar because I know you would have to travel in?
Nothing in the month of March that I can think of offhand. So I'll definitely be planning to travel to be there.
Wonderful. All right, well, I'll send out, I'll get with Bailey on your schedule and we'll, get some dates generated. So.
Do any of you all have anything you'd like to bring before this commission today? Seeing none, other than Patricia, you have a beautiful home there.
Thank you so much.
Are you on like the Atlantic Ocean or the Bay of Mumbai or something like that? Anyway, thank you for being here. Thank for each of you for being here, and I look forward to working with you this year. It's been a year, and seeing no other business, this meeting stands adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a good day.
Bye.
Okay.
This is just start. It's totally.
Yes.